Hi, I'm Rob from Castle Pixel. I'm the art director slash game designer of Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King, and you're listening to Cat with Monocle.
Welcome to the 6th episode of Cat with Monocle's podcast. Now, today we are chatting with Rob from Castle Pixel, art director of Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King. How well are things over at the castle, Rob?
Hey, how's it going, Seth?
Pretty good about you.
Just great.
So, when did Castle Pixel start up? And how did it become together?
Okay, so that's kind of a long answer, but okay, so Castle Pixel started after the guy who owns Castle Pixel with me, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
He and I used to make a game called Rex Rocket, and so while we were making Rex Rocket, we started talking to a guy at Nintendo about porting it to the Wii U. And in order to, do anything with Nintendo, you had to have a company. So that's why we originally created Castle Pixel, was to work with Nintendo.
Yeah.
We wound up not porting Rex Rocket to the Wii U, but we still had the company, so we used it for selling the game and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the whole reason we made it.
Was there a reason why Rex Rocket never came to the Wii U?
You know what? I think it was like we put out Rex on Steam, and it was just like Blossom Tales. Like, it didn't do great on Steam.
Yeah.
And at the time, we had been talking to other developers who had ported games to the Wii U, and they were like, "Oh, our sale numbers aren't that great." So we had to like pick what to put our resources into, and it just never material. I mean, like, from the get-go, we wanted Rex on the Wii U, but after the Steam release, it was like, okay, we had to do something else besides Rex Rocket, because it would have been just like a huge gamble for us.
Yeah. So, Rex Rocket being your first game, and then Blossom Tales being the second one?
Yeah.
So, how long did it take to develop Blossom Tales? From the idea to being onto the Switch?
Oh, probably. Well, to get onto the Switch, it was probably like 2 years to actually make it to the Switch.
Okay.
It probably was like a year in development, year and a half in development, QA, bug tweaking, the Steam release. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was out like forever on Steam before it even made it to the Switch, so it's been a long road.
So you didn't have the Nintendo Switch in mind when you first created Blossom Tales, did you? It was just, we're going to make this
I didn't have when I first started working on Blossom Tales, I think I don't even think the Wii U was out.
Oh, wow.
I started working on Blossom Tales before Rex Rocket.
Oh.
Well, it was a game called Blossom Tales. It was like a top-down. It really didn't have anything in common with like the game Blossom Tales today.
Yeah.
But I was working on like a top-down kind of Zelda-y game, and that it was like one of the first games big games I'd ever tried to make by myself. And development team like kind of fell apart on it, and so then I started making Rex Rocket. After that was done, we I didn't have anything else to do, so we had to do something besides put any more resources into Rex. So.
So you came back to Blossom Tales after that release?
Yeah, I had all these graphics from when I had been working on it before. Mm-hmm. So I kind of did a bunch of new graphics and put together a Kickstarter, and that's how Blossom Tales started.
Now, if FDG Entertainment came in and picked it up, how did they contact you, or did you contact them?
They contacted us. They saw our Kickstarter somewhere, and they were like, "Hey, this game looks great. If it doesn't make the goal, we will partner with you guys." So that's how that came about.
Now, I haven't really looked at the the Kickstarter. Did it actually ever pass, or did it barely?
No, it was I think we had like a $45,000 or $60,000 goal, and it only made like 20,000.
So maybe about less than 50%.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that FTG picked it up right away. So by that time, you guys were planning on bringing it out to Steam, and after that came out, I mean, from what I've heard, that the sales weren't that, I guess, weren't that great. Were okay. I mean, how would you say your sales were on the Steam compared to, like, I guess, what you originally thought it was going to be?
I mean, we thought it would be, well, we had like comparable metrics from Rex Rocket, right? Like, so Rex Rocket spent like X amount of time in Greenlight, and then it made like X amount of money. Blossom Tales like spent like no time in Greenlight. I don't know if the ecosystem of Greenlight had changed between the times of putting Rex Rocket in and Blossom Tales in, but just from how fast it went through Greenlight and the just the other amount of interest that was showed in Blossom Tales and compared to Rex Rocket, we thought it would do considerably better than Rex Rocket did.
And it did not. Which it did. It sounded like it did not do as well as Rex Rocket.
No, yeah, I mean it did a little bit better than Rex Rocket, but I mean not really enough. Yeah.
And that's with FDG helping you out along the way, right?
Right, yeah.
So, once that came out, I mean, how long did it take you guys to... Let me back up. So, did FTG came and say, hey, we're going to put this on the Nintendo Switch, after it came out on Steam? Or did you guys decide to bring that out to the Switch?
You know what? They had put out Oceanhorn onto the Switch previous to this. So they probably had, like, Steam numbers and Oceanhorn numbers, and they were like, wow, Oceanhorn, like, the numbers on Switch are amazing. We should definitely get Blossom Tales brought over as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, that's how that happened.
So did you guys have to go back and redo modifications to Blossom Tales in order to get Switch?
FDG really handled most of the porting process. They used another company for porting. Well, we had made Blossom Tales in this game framework called Monogame, so like porting it to any other platform, it's a good amount of work, but it's not like starting from scratch or like reworking anything really. It's I'm sure it was a huge pain in the butt, but they got it working.
Oh, that's good.
It's awesome, yeah.
So, from what I also read, that you guys were also close on shutting down the studio because of the sales on Steam.
Oh yeah, we were. I mean, well, like coming to the Switch, we had hopes, but like we had talked to other developers who also had games on the Switch, and they were like, yeah, it didn't really sell that well on Switch. So we didn't really go in with very high expectations, but yeah, it killed it.
Yeah, no, it totally did. Like, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. And I wonder, too, if... I know the game came out during the holidays, at the end of the year, so I don't know if maybe because a lot of people were off that time, and that game just came out, Switch being still... pretty new, not even a year old yet, and not as many games still on the library. And then, Blossom Tales comes around and says, hey, look at us, we're just like Zelda, but cool.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of the factors that went into the success of Blossom Tales, I think a major one was like just all timing, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Switch eShop was like, 15 years old like Steam, it might the two might look very similar.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you too, is that because the Switch is so new, and now just being over a year old, you're starting to see more and more games come out, and I mean I can understand a lot of developers want to put their game on the Switch now to get some of those sales. But I kind of wonder at the same time if the Switch is going to go, the eShop is going to go in the same direction as Steam, where it's going to get flooded with games, and just, it's going to be hard to, come up with sales so many.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will have to do with how, Nintendo handles its curation of games. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know right now it's like, for Steam, the process is Greenlight, which... Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really follow that stuff anymore, but I just assume it's like, you can make a bunch of bots and get a game voted onto Steam or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really sure what it's like anymore.
Yeah.
But for Nintendo, you have to have like an existing relationship with Nintendo to like start, and I don't even know like how that works or like.
Right. You have you got FGG kind of handling most of that. I assume.
Well, I know that FTG told me that a Nintendo rep actually approached them at PAX event.
Okay.
And asked them, hey, you guys want to port this to the Switch? So, I mean, I guess that's how they do it, which it's not perfect, but I think it's better than Greenlight, at least.
Well, it seems like you're getting more of a one-on-one, with the actual, team behind, like Nintendo, or it could be with Sony, for example, to bringing a game out to their home consoles.
Sure.
And then being the Switch being more of a hybrid, but it also seems that getting games out to the public, like all these different conventions, like GDC or any of the PAX conventions, seems to be in a favor for you guys. I would say maybe for any developer, just to get their name out.
Yeah, totally.
Has there been any? So, have you been to GDC last week?
No, we didn't. We didn't go this year. We went like a couple years ago to show Rex Rocket off at the Indie Mega booth, which was there. But we haven't gone since.
Okay, so nothing for Blossom Tales and to show off, at least for this year's GDC. Would you guys go to GDC next year?
I don't know. I think it depends on like what we're doing and if it like really would like make sense for us to go. Like if we're like developing a game, there's only like 2 of us, so it's not even like, oh hey, we're gonna go, you guys continue to work. It's like all development is like dead for 2 weeks.
Seems like it's more like a kind of a group effort to go out there and just kind of represent the company and the game.
Yeah, for sure. I really want to go. Like the girl who does the music for Blossom Tales, she did like this. It's like game developers get on a train and like go to California.
Yeah,
like on the train. It just sounded so cool, and I was pretty jealous.
I was I was talking to her a couple of weeks ago actually about it too, and she was telling me about the adventures of how you guys reached out to her to get the music on Blossom Tales and the process and everything, which was interesting to see a different perspective of just the music side of things. And we've got that recorded on the podcast that if you guys ever want to take a listen to it, of what she kind of went through.
Oh, okay, yeah, totally.
So
actually, yeah, sorry, it like totally slipped my mind that Josie was on your shit too. I did listen to a little bit of that.
Okay, now, by chance, is Castle Pixel creating anything that would be coming out maybe next year?
No, definitely not next year. But we do have like projects that we're kind of like kicking around right now. Really don't have anything solid, but like we're thinking about everything from like Blossom Tales to like a zombie simulator, or vampire simulator.
Oh, now, any chance of Blossom Tales, jumping over to, let's say, the PlayStation or the Xbox consoles?
I can't confirm anything, but I want to rule it out yet.
Right. No, understand. I assume that because I saw that there's some updates coming up for Blossom Tales. Looks like some patchwork.
Sure. Yeah.
Could you explain a little bit more about that?
It's just like bugs that people have reported getting fixed. Some like translation dialogue has been fixed. I know there's like the video capture, the porting team is putting that in. Okay. So yeah.
Now, how long does that usually take to fix bugs compared, when you first start, fixing it?
It's pretty long. It has to we had to actually go into the code and like fix a bug or like fix some piece of art or whatever, and then the new build would have to go through QA to make sure that like, oh hey, it doesn't delete your game saves or like whatever. So it has to make it through that process, and then it has to make it through like the actual like Nintendo vetting process.
Right.
I also think that like it goes from Tyler to like Tyler's the lead programmer for Blossom Tales, so he's like been fixing all the bugs.
Okay.
So it goes from like Tyler to FDG and their QA, and then it goes to like the porting team, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It actually might go from Tyler to the porting team to QA
So
at
at least,
FDG.
so it sounds like at least maybe 3 steps at the very least.
Yeah, and then it makes it to Nintendo, and they like vet it as well to make sure that there's like no malware in it or whatever.
Yeah, they got their own ways of looking at things, and then it sounds like too that when you start making some modifications, that making sure that nothing else received anything broken, like now the save is corrupted, or let's say now Lily's like flying all across the map somehow if you go to the specific area.
Right. Yeah, it really, I mean, that's pretty much the name of the game in software development. It's like, oh, I fixed this and I broke that. Great. So
sounds a little bit familiar. I mean, I don't do video game programming. I do more websites, and that's kind of similar but not that extreme.
Oh, I do that like I've been working like ever since we put out Blossom Tales. I like have been picking up side work during like my downtime here while Tyler's like doing whatever.
Yeah.
But I've been doing like React and like web stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like a full-time job for me right now, and it's like going like super well. I actually like I started as like a web developer, and then I went into game design. As just like a hobby, and I've only been like doing it full time since like maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I like web development as well. But
yeah, no, I mean, just speaking on like for like web development, because I've been doing I'm mostly like the like front end development and designing. And,
oh, cool, yeah.
And it's been, I mean, what I like about it is it's you get different projects and it's different ways of presenting, websites, and not everyone's gonna be the same. I mean, it's hardly ever gonna be something coded the same way. So you're always gonna find new ways of making something either transition or appear on the page in some unique order, especially when you have to respond it down to mobile size. That's always the fun part at times.
Oh yeah, like responsive design, all that stuff for sure.
Yeah. Now, so you prefer to do more of the web design, ironically, over the game design, or do you?
Oh no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like web design, but I like if I had to take one to a desert island, I'd probably take game design. It's like more fun to do, I guess.
Yeah.
And especially because it's not like someone else's project; it's my project.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a little bit of that ownership factor that goes into it as well. But
yeah,
I really like the team I'm working on now and the guys I'm working for the web development stuff. It's really great. So.
It's kind of,
I enjoy both.
Yeah, I mean it's playing with two different worlds, and you're not doing the same thing over and over every day.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
That's kind of funny, because that's how I kind of did Cat with Monica, was just because I've done with the web design, web development, that's something I do all the time, and then doing Cat with Monica is something a little different. Then I can take ownership and run with it in a certain way that I want to take it with. It's no game design, but I still get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, totally. It's nice to have like your own thing,
Yeah, I think so too. I think life gets a little dull when you have too much stuff repeating, and even though it does give me like lack of sleep at times, but what job doesn't if you enjoy it?
Right. Yeah. Totally.
Now, growing up though, have you played classic games like from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega?
Yeah. Well, growing up, we had a Nintendo Entertainment System, and then I didn't have any say in like what the gaming system for the house was going to be. So it went from the Nintendo Entertainment System to Sega Genesis. So for the whole 16-bit era, we had Sega instead of Nintendo. So like I didn't get to grow up with games like A Link to the Past, I might have I played like A Link to the Past at like friends' houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I never really got to like play the entire thing.
Mhm.
So Blossom Tales is kind of like, the A Link to the Past I never got to play as a kid.
No, that's actually kind of ironic that you end up helping out with a game that's similar to Link to the Past, but yet you didn't really play it as much as growing up.
Right.
Now that you had a Sega Genesis, what top 5 Genesis games did you enjoy growing up?
Oh, geez. Okay. We'll start with Streets of Rage 2. I'll do Sonic and Knuckles 3.
Okay.
Or Sonic 3, whatever.
Yeah.
What else was like one of my favorite Genesis games? Those are like the two major ones that come to mind. Golden Axe was always good.
Yeah.
Oh crap. They're all escaping me now. I feel so old. I think Sega games.
Well, that's the hard part, is that there's a few good Sega games, but there's the problem is that there's so many good Nintendo games that's always been talked about. And
okay, hold on. I just Googled it to like see. Okay. Contra was really cool. Altered Beast was way sweet. Toe Jam and Earl for sure. I can't believe I blanked on that one. Eco the Dolphin was cool.
I had a hard time getting into that one. I don't know why. Every time I tried to play it, I got really confused of how I was supposed to play, except for, well, this is really fun. I make the dolphin jump everywhere.
Oh, Earthworm Jim was sweet.
Yeah.
So I just like scrolled through the list of top Sega Genesis games, and those are the only ones that I liked on it. So. Okay.
Those were all still good games, though.
Yeah, totally.
So after the Genesis, did you end up getting into, back into the Nintendo wagon, or did you stop playing, games up to that point? No,
after the Genesis, I think my next system by the time Genesis hit, I wasn't really much of a Nintendo fanboy anymore. I was just like, whatever. So I got a PlayStation after that. And then I don't think I actually played another Nintendo until GameCube. So I guess that's like same era as the first PlayStation, right? Those two came out at the same time.
Right? Somewhat close, because I think the PS2 came out at the same time with the GameCube.
Oh, okay. Well, that was like the first time I came back to the game Nintendo, like a Nintendo platform. I had Game Boys too, but I don't know. It's not really. So yeah, GameCube hit, and like I just loved it. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
You said you said you played Zelda on the GameCube?
Yeah, Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like one of my favorite games of all time.
No, I cannot argue with that. Did you end up getting a Wii U after that?
No, I never got the Wii U. I had a Wii for a bit. I didn't really play it very much, though.
No, they were really selling the motion controls, and that was more
you know what I think that's what turned me off from the games. Like I would try playing like a Zelda game, the motion controls, and like it wasn't responsive enough for me, and I was like, I just want buttons.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of turned me off a little bit from the Wii, but I don't know. I freaking love the Switch. I think that's like the best thing since sliced bread. Pretty much.
No, that is I cannot argue about anything about that. I think every time I think about the Switch and what it's coming out with, I just remember that the last time it's done this well, I mean, I think it's a way better console than the Wii when that first came out. I mean, just because there's just so many different types of games, there's so many different things you can do with it.
Totally.
And especially now that you got indie games coming out more often for this, it just kind of gives you that nostalgia feeling that you got these, these small, but yet, these really, unique indie games, like Blossom Tales, for example, and you just can't really find much of that anymore. And I think that, being able to take that on the go and play it on the TV at the same time is what I think, makes it even more special.
Totally, yeah. It's magic. I mean, for us, it's like amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
What other games have you played on the Switch?
Let's see. I played Mario, and I played the Zelda game, and what else did I get on it? I got that new Kirby game for it.
Yeah.
Got Minecraft on it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that's it so far. I really haven't gotten too many games on it.
No Odyssey, I take it? No, not the new Mario game?
Oh yeah, no, I got the new Odyssey on it. Yeah.
Have you? What about any other indie developer games?
No, I mean, honestly, I haven't really had much time to play many of them. My girlfriend plays most of the games on there, but she also has that one. I haven't played this one yet, but it's the one. What is it? It's something Flood, where you're like on a raft or something. Fire in the Flood, maybe.
That sounds familiar.
It's like a survival game, indie game on there. It looks really cool.
It was on the Switch?
Yeah.
I'll have to look this up. I'm curious what it is. But there's a
Flame in the Flood, maybe. I don't know.
Now you're making me gonna go look it up.
I think it's Flame in the Flood. It's really pretty game.
Huh.
What's the studio for this? Unreal Engine developers, The Molasses Flood. Cool.
That's a unique title. So has your for you said your girlfriend plays more of the games on the Switch. Has she been playing? Does she like your game, or do you hope she does?
She hasn't beat it yet. Let's just put it that way. She's played a little bit of it, but like I don't know. I don't think she ever played like A Link to the Past or like anything like that. Mm-hmm. So like, I think that type of game is like really new for her, and it's just like taking her a while to ramp up on it. I guess I don't know.
So do you think it seems like that if you like Zelda games or have a nostalgia for those over top adventure games, that you'll probably like Blossom Tales compared to those who are kind of new to the series? Yeah,
like like while we were making Blossom Tales, I'd always say, I'm making the game for me. Like I am the demographic for the game.
I feel like that's what I want to say. A lot of indie developers kind of look at it and says, "What would I like?" Which I have no complaints.
And you know what? To a certain degree, it is, and then to a certain degree, it's like everyone's game. Like I had to design it for. Yeah. Because like I don't really like super easy games, and like I like really hard games. Like Rex Rocket, our old game, that one's super hard. Oh. And so for Blossom Tales, it was just like, okay, super super easy for everyone, but it's still I like playing it.
It's still it's. I mean, it's fun in its own way, regardless of the difficulty.
Right.
So let's see here. We talked about when you guys were in a situation where things were starting to look gloom for Castle Pixel, was there anything different you guys ended up doing to make sure that nothing closed up? Like, did you guys end up pitching advertise the game more, or? I mean,
let's see. I doubled my potato production first in the backyard.
That's surprised you didn't grow hens in the backyard while you're at it.
Yeah, right. There actually is. There's a chicken coop back there, but it's not mine.
Oh.
I would have been robbing the chicken coop.
I think I have to agree with you. Oh, I don't know how anybody could actually endure that and just raise chickens like that.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man.
But yeah, let me think. No, I mean, we both had like game plans for like if I mean, if the writing's on the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
or find something else to do. Because I mean, like with releasing Blossom Tales on Steam, it was just like, yeah, I don't think we're cut out for making video games anymore.
Yeah,
it's like it comes out for Switch, and it's like, no, wait, maybe we are. So
it's one of those things you just try and see what happens. If it sticks to the wall, great. If it doesn't, oh well, let's just do something else. Right. And that's not a bad idea. I mean, I think maybe. I mean, would you suggest that a lot of developers who are looking into making games should just give it a shot? Try it, see how it works, and if it doesn't work,
yeah, totally. Make a game, put it out there. It might be a huge hit. It might not be. I think for me personally, it's more about the fun of making games. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, Rex Rocket didn't make much money on Steam. Mm-hmm. I'm still making games. I like doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even if I was a millionaire, I'd still want to make video games. It's just like I'm not good at a lot of things on Earth, and making games is something I'm not like super suck at. So
right,
I think I'll keep doing it.
Would you rather be, just out of curiosity, would you rather be good at one thing or just be a jack of all trades?
That's a good question. I've always wanted to be good at just one thing, but I'm okay at a lot of things, so I don't know.
That was more of a serious question than anything else.
Well, it's like you mentioned earlier. It's like, sometimes things get boring, so you gotta find something else to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not everybody's going to be good at a lot of things, I think.
I mean, look at my like Leonardo da Vinci. He was good at a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
He was pretty damn good at a lot of things.
I don't think they had to worry about rent or maybe things like that, or did they? I don't know.
I mean, I watched that show on I think it's like Cinemax or something like that, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure he had to deal with rent and stuff like that for sure. Like, he's got to make money somehow.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And back then, if you didn't pay for it, you lost a leg or something.
I know, right?
So at least the price to pay is a little bit easier today's age than back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, what would you say, for up and coming or developers who are wanting to get into the action to start up a studio or whatnot? What should they pay attention the most?
Oh, geez.
It can be more than one thing if it's that much of a difficult.
I would probably say, keep an eye on what's hot. If there's some platform out there that sales are really good, try to get on that platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're an indie studio now and you put a game on Steam, I mean, there's a chance it'll do really well. But there's, also a chance that it might not do so well. So, I mean, yeah, just try to find out what platform you think would fit your game best, and aim for it.
And would you say, you mentioned before you do it for fun. What would you do it for? What would you want to play? And it seems like that's a lot maybe easier than just trying to make it for somebody else, because you're trying to figure out who that person is, who's that audience.
Yeah, right. I don't know. People that are making games that they don't like themselves, but they're making the game. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes that can show in a game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
So I'm gonna take this, back a little bit differently. Now, growing up, did you always listen to game soundtracks, or did you really not get into that?
Let's see. Growing up, I mean, game soundtracks. Yeah, I listened to tons of game soundtracks because I played tons of games. But
yeah,
while not playing a game. Growing up, I really didn't do that too much, but today I definitely listen to game soundtracks probably too much. I'll play them while I work, all the time. Yeah, that's That's one of my favorite things to listen to is like movie soundtracks and game soundtracks. Just because I think that the kind of music that's designed for video games or movies, it's meant to be like, I mean, depending on the scene or what's going, like the context, it's meant to be background music. You know.
No, I totally agree with that. So what's on your playlist now?
Geez, I've been at work. I've been listening to the lo-fi Zelda mix. On YouTube. I don't know who runs these lo-fi channels, but I'm almost positive it's like a bot that just like auto mixes music together with like like almost like super chill hip hop drum beats almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really cool. It's kind of like a nice remix of familiar songs. So been listening to that.
Now that the Blossom Tales out, and does it give you some breathing room to enjoy life a little bit more?
Yes, totally. It's awesome. It's extra money in Tyler and I's pockets. I've been able to reduce the potato production in the backyard down to normal levels again. And it feels good. Not only because it's like we put a game out on Steam twice and like didn't do too hot.
Yeah.
And so like to us it was basically like the universe saying stop.
Yeah.
It's like you're not good. Like and so to have a little bit of validation on our work and like the kind of effort that we've been putting into game making has just been nice. It's like, oh hey, you don't suck that bad. So
what would you have done if, let's say, for example, Blossom Tales didn't go so well, things closed down? Where would you go next?
I mean, when we said we would have closed down, it probably would have been like, okay, we're going back to hobby levels of game development.
Okay.
Which is like, we're not doing it 24/7, you know. We probably would have still made some other kind of game, pitched it on Greenlight, pitched it on Kickstarter, whatever. Just look to the future, figure out a game that we want to play again and make it in our spare time.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. You're just taking it down from a full-time job to a fun side job.
Right.
What would you say your favorite movie would be at this point?
Ooh, you mean my favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
Ooh, favorite movie of all time. I don't know. It's always hard to narrow it down to just one. What character defines me as a person or a movie? You know what? I would probably take Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh. What would be the reason why you choose that one?
I don't know. It's just like I'm thinking of like my top movies, and that's the one that's coming to mind the most.
Okay. So, have you seen any movies this year so far? I mean, it's only not even.
Yeah,
I've
seen a lot of movies. I saw like The Shape of Water. I saw all the new Marvel movies, except for I haven't seen Black Panther yet, which I've been like. It's a long story. Like I've been trying to see that movie for weeks now. I was actually thinking about going tonight, but I had like this podcast to do. And
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like there's still the weekend. I'm trying to make it happen. There's like Black Panther's having it's like the fashion exhibit of like all the costumes they use in the movies. It's like coming to Pittsburgh. So
is it really?
I really want to see the movie and then see like the exhibit with the costumes in it.
So when does the exhibit come in Pittsburgh?
I don't know. I think it's like next week or something.
Okay,
like I need to go see the movie now.
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie yet. I've been a little occupied as well, but I mean, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, which makes me really intrigued. And I think every week my colleagues for my full-time gig will say, they'll keep asking if I've seen it yet. So I'm going to have to do something soon. Not that I don't want to see it. I really want to see it, but I'm kind of in the same boat. Just I need to go out there and see it. But I think you need to go see it right before you go see the exhibit.
I know, yeah.
It actually sounds pretty cool, actually, to see that. Is there a
I
lot
know,
of
right?
So, is there a lot of activities in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's an okay town for like stuff like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's more than Detroit. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is like the first big movie. Well, actually, they filmed like a lot of the scenes in Black Knight here,
Did they?
but they never put on. Yeah, they never put many of the stuff on exhibit. Actually, wait, I take that back. Maybe it wasn't Black Knight. Maybe it was the one with Bane in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one
Oh,
with
the
Bane
third
in
one.
it
Okay.
yeah, that was like a bunch of the shots were in Pittsburgh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's like as close as Pittsburgh gets to like superhero name.
They filmed a few things in Detroit, but I think it's just based on the old buildings that were already destroyed, anyways. I think Transformers was probably one of them, but you know, that's because everything is already decayed in some of the areas already. Oh well. They had something set up for years that the government did in the state where they gave a tax cut to movie industries to come out, which I think a lot of us thought it was a great idea to bring more business into Michigan for at least like, you know, more movies and whatnot. And then they decided to not do that anymore, so it's, you know, it's kind of a bum not to see much of that anymore.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things in Michigan that can't really say, since I don't know 100% of what's going on anyways, but yeah, you know, it's kind of a mess. I think. But I think you find that anywhere, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what would be, you know, I'm going to give you a lot of these questions because I think they're kind of fun to see what responses you get. So,
sure.
Top 5 games in your mind.
Top 5 games. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go with Final Fantasy VII.
All right.
In no particular order. Final Fantasy VII, Zelda Wind Waker, World of Warcraft. How many is that? 3 or 4?
That was 3.
Okay, 2 more. 2 more. I want to throw I'll throw the original Soul Calibur in there for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, no, I guess that's not the original, but Dreamcast Soul Calibur.
Right.
And what else? What would be my last game? I guess Skyrim. I'll put Skyrim in there too. Skyrim's amazing.
Yeah, and that's on the Switch too.
I know. Yeah, you don't gotta tell me twice. I really want to get it on the Switch.
You can at least put Link's outfit on there too and get the Hyrule Shield going.
Yeah.
Well, now that you have a little bit more time, maybe you can do that. Maybe you can play at least a little bit of it.
I know. Yeah, I'm seriously thinking about it.
Oh, jeez. So, how did you guys come up with Castle Pixel? I mean, I knew that was something that you guys had put together real quick, but...
Yeah, again, we didn't think we would have it this long, but...
Yeah,
we were like, okay, like... So, I think we were talking about names, and we were talking about, like, famous game studios, and... I think we kind of like the idea of naming the company after more of like a hideout or like a place where we would make games, or like just kind of like a fantasy environment. So we called it Castle Pixel.
Okay.
I think it was my name. I'm not a big fan of the name Castle Pixel. It doesn't have a nice mouthfeel for me at least.
The first thing I wanted to ask if that was something related to White Castle.
No, it's just like, okay, it's a kind of like if Mario was a game developer, he'd live in Castle Pixel or something. I don't know.
It was just something that seemed to fit for what you needed at the time of the moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm surprised that was actually still existed, or it hasn't even existed yet.
You know what? I think there was something out there called like Castle Pixel or Pixel Castle or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing in the gaming industry, so we jumped on it.
Yeah, well, it makes more sense. I'm not sure where the other one's from, but that kind of makes sense for a gaming industry, you know, label would make more sense.
Yeah.
Unless it's a fast food. What if it was a fast food joint? I guess that, you know, resembled White Castle, but maybe
Pixel's Super Square hamburgers.
That would
like
be sweet.
Everything on the hamburgers. Ultra's cubed off.
What if then spoons and forks were all pixelated?
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Okay, yeah, that's $1 million idea. I would edit that out of anything that was going out to the public. Patent it.
Yeah, we're gonna patent it right now, people. There's no way that's. It's a strictly competitor to White Castle and everything that's gonna resemble pixel burgers.
Yeah. Let's not stop at pixel burgers. We can do pixel hot dogs. We can do just pixelize all foods. Just make everything fair.
That would be if that can be pulled off. Oh man, I mean, you could probably. I mean, there's your $1 million, and you could just start, having that as your back pocket for retirement and just make games the rest of your life based on fast food at Castle Pixel.
Yeah. Hey. I'm gonna talk to Tyler about this.
That's not a bad idea. And then I don't know. Maybe we'll join together on a web design for it.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
All right. We're on to something here. I know Tyler. You said Tyler was into the development than you are. He's a lead programmer.
Tyler's the lead programmer.
Okay.
For sure.
What was your title again?
I don't know. I call myself a game developer.
Okay.
I did like all the artwork in the game is me. Like if someone was the lead artist, it would have been me.
Okay.
I did a lot of programming too, but not like Tyler. Tyler would do the heavy lifting of the programming, and then I would step in and do like, I don't know, visual effects for things, and like all the cutscenes in Blossom Tales were done by me, like all the animation and effects that go on them. A lot of the effects on enemies were done by me on the programming side. Lots of like little things like the birds or butterflies or things like that I programmed in there as well too. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at some like animated GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call those, and I'm seeing on the little animations. I mean, they're very detailed from when it comes to the lighting effects, the snowflakes coming down, little smoke from pipes, and I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on in the game, but it gives it that nostalgia feeling to it that I think it makes it a unique game to even watch or even play.
Yeah, totally. Again, it's the Zelda game I never got to play as a little kid. So
there you go.
And
that's another way of putting it too. A Zelda game that you've never got a chance to play, but what would it look like if I was to play it? Yeah,
right. Like when I go back and I play an older game, it's like it's not really as cool as when I was as little, right? Like when I was little, it was like freaking amazing, and like now I'm going back to it. It's not so impressive.
Yeah.
So like I kind of wanted to have that same kind of feeling, but update it, So it was like, oh, hey, this is sweet. Like, look at all the little shit in here. This is like, and like
that kind of that's like that with like, because you mentioned Final Fantasy VII, which that was one of my favorite games, so one of my favorite Final Fantasies, and when that first came out, I was like, wow, look how cool this looks. Look at that's like, I think it was the first time they had an animated CG for it. And there was commercials for it and everything. And you're like, whoa, this is so cool. Look at this. I'm totally going to buy this day one. And I remember picking that sucker up right after school. I would go get it. And I played it for days and days and days. And summers were that. That was my summertime.
Nice.
And there was, I don't know. I mean, I've loved that game so much. Like, I mean, I went and played the other ones as well, but, I would always try to, I don't know if you've been to this or have ever heard of it or going to, would be the Distant Worlds concert.
Oh, is that like when they do the Final Fantasy music concerts?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of those. I've wanted to go to them, but I never have.
Well, if you've played more than, have you played any other Final Fantasies except for 7?
Oh yeah, I played like 6. Played a couple of the DS remakes for like 2 or 3. I've played Final Fantasy 8, 9, 13, and a little bit of the MMO one, but not really. I don't really count it.
Well, yeah, I don't think a lot of people did, and they play some of it on there, but they only play the main themes just because Uematsu is the one who composed those. He's the guy that composed all the older ones.
Yeah, he
And
did Oakenhorn soundtrack too, I think.
which one?
Actually,
he did. You know, he did. You're right.
yeah, I think he worked on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's what came. That's what got Oceanhorn so popular. It was like, wait, what? Did he
Yeah.
compose for that? I gotta check this out.
I know, just for the feels.
And yeah, I mean, if you played that many, then you should. I recommend you go and at least attend one. And
Yeah.
if you have the chance to meet him, do it.
Ooh, that would be sweet.
I've done it twice, and it was awesome. I had him sign my Final Fantasy 1 Nintendo game. So he signed the front of it. So it's like that really. I'm looking at it now. It's one of those like. It's that. It's got like the sword and the axe crossed with the planet behind it.
Totally.
Yeah. So he's
Nice.
So I have him sign that one, and I had him sign 7. And when I first met him, it was more of a surprise. My fiance at the time, she got me tickets to go to the concert, but then like as a surprise, she says, I got you a meet and greet with them. And we went to Toronto. This was years ago. I think this was like, it's coming up. I think this weekend actually is going to be 6 years, and since that time. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I went and contacted the marketing for Distant Worlds, and I says, hey, I don't know if you would do anything, but I wanted to propose to my fiance. She got me tickets for this, and I want to propose to her. Is there anything you guys can do? And I got the next day I got an email back. And they said, yeah, well, would you what song do you want to play after the proposal? Here's the list of songs. So they gave me Air's theme, Theme of Love from Final Fantasy IV, Xanarkin, I'm probably saying the name wrong, for Final Fantasy X, which that's a really good one. And I think those were the only 3.
Oh man, what'd you go with?
I went with Air's theme.
Nice. That's what I would have picked.
Yeah, it was really tough because I liked Xanarkin a lot. It was a great theme to it, but I love 7, so I'm sticking with 7. And so they said, okay, so where are you guys sitting at? I was like, well, we're up in the upper levels, and they says, well, it's going to take too long for you guys to come down into the stage to do this. So he says, just let me know what is her name, what is your name, and we're gonna put it on the screen, and then we'll have the spotlight come down on you. So so when we get into the concert, I'm like sweating like bullets. I'm like, okay, like when's it gonna happen? They didn't tell me when it was gonna be. So I had a temporary ring ready to go, and I had it in my pocket. I'm just like making sure it's still there, like freaking out.
Nice.
And then so we didn't know when this song was going to happen, and then eventually, it was intermission. That says, when we come back, we're going to play this, and we're going to play Air's theme. I was like, okay, here it's going to come up. So I'm like freaking out a little bit, trying to keep my cool.
You're making me freak out. Just tell me the story.
Yeah, good. At least I'm telling it in an interesting way. Hopefully, so they got to the point where. When they actually got to so right before they said the thing, they said we got a special, we got something special going on, Cloud is going to have we've got a message from Cloud, and so it was a scene. So what they did is they showed the animated scene of when Cloud is when he falls into the roof of the church, and he's laying on a flower bed.
Nice.
He gets up and then. Eris is right there, and Cloud kind of brushes off the dirt off him. Those good old big old cubicle, hands, brushes off.
Sure.
And then they stop the scene there, and then they had the text kind of fade in, and it says, Cheryl, it said my name on it on the top as who was talking. It says, Cheryl Murray, would you do the honors of marrying me?
Whoa, that's
cool. And so that was on the screen, and Arnie, who was the conductor, he was, kind of leading this whole thing going on. And so they had the spotlight come on, and I was, got on the knee, and I gave it to her, and she was all smiles. And she's not a big Final Fantasy, person. She knows I really like it, so she got me the stuff, and I invited her out to go to it. So, but she went with it, and she was really, really cool about it and
cool
whatnot. So then after that was done, they played the Earth's theme, and she knows that that song I've always liked. So we used that song when she went down the aisle. We played that song, and but after the concert, so we got to do the meet and greet, and so when we got up there, Arnie, the conductor looks. It's like, hey, these are the guys. So Uematsu and Arnie's right there, and then they said, oh, hey. These are the guys. He's Arnie's the conductor. Arnie is telling
Nice.
Uematsu, like, these are the guys who proposed. And so Uematsu's like, he speaks some English, and he's like, oh, congratulations. Shakes her hands. We got a photo with them, and I had a couple things. I think I had Final Fantasy 7 and 6 from the PlayStation for him to sign. He just took everything I had in my hands and just signed everything. And,
Nice. That's
and
super cool.
it was really. He had some demos too of like what he played in for, like, I've never heard of these, but he had demos of single tracks, and so he's like, here, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. So it was really cool that I was able to. Oh, that entire experience I'll never forget though. But that was really fun though. That he was really cool and really humble about the whole situation. And then I met him again last year in Chicago when it was their anniversary for the 30th anniversary for Final Fantasy. So they had a concert in Chicago, and I went there and I met him again, and they remember who I was, which was very. I'm still laughing to this day that they still remember me. So I'll have to keep going back there just see how long they'll remember the situation, the Toronto proposal. So
Nice.
So little story of at least on my part on how that all goes. So, but it's one of those things where, like, after that situation, I realized that it doesn't hurt to ask. People always get afraid to, like, say something or ask something, but I find out that just ask. All they can say is no.
Yeah, totally.
And so you'll be surprised the answers you'll get, and just go, and then once you do, you roll with it.
Yeah.
So poor life lesson, I guess. But man, oh man, I can't believe it's already been 6 years for that. Yeah, sounds too high.
Time flies.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, I highly recommend that you should go watch it. I watched the Zelda concert as well, the orchestrated one, Symphony of the Goddess.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So
yeah,
I watched.
Was that good?
Yeah, I liked it. The last one I watched was last year, and they added some more tracks from Breath of the Wild, which was always great to watch and hear at the same time. So that was fun.
Cool.
And then I think it was it December? No, it was January. It was the first week of January, and it was the Pokemon Symphony. And I've never been to Symphony for Pokemon, and it was the last one they were doing. I didn't realize it till I got there. It was in Grand Rapids, and the conductor that was doing the concert series was from Grand Rapids, so they were going to have their last stop in Grand Rapids, and so I was able to go out there and listen to it. I came in not to expect anything, and it actually blew me away of what they did. So I was I'm really hoping they'll come back and do the series again, because that was fun. I would watch it again. So I mean, it's always fun. Like it's come to the point where, like, I think a lot of game soundtracks are at this point. They're just they're still fun. When you go back and think about them from the good old Nintendo days, up until now, like, they've gotten more attention than they've ever been.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like movie production levels nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it's at that point where it really is. I mean, you get games like a Zelda and a Mario come out, or Final Fantasy, and you can expect people to, like, or spend their time buying it, and they'll buy it, they'll play it for hours and hours and hours, and talk about it. But I mean, if you look at movies, like, I think the only thing that's really going for movies right now is, like, Marvel. They've got a formula they've been working on for years, and you look at Black Panther and the upcoming Avengers, and it's just it's getting everybody talking about it.
Yeah, they're killing it right now.
Yeah, and DC's trying to catch up, but that's just not working.
Oh yeah, DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't count them out of the game, but yeah, they're definitely not Marvel level.
No, they have to. For me, I don't know if you agree with this or not, though, but I feel like they have to approach it in a totally different perspective. They can't be like Marvel. Marvel to spend so much time on building everything up. You can't do that in 2 years. So
Yeah, they're a powerhouse. I mean, they have like Disney backing them and stuff. So
yeah,
right, like
yeah, they do.
it's
Well,
like I mean, DC's not backed by Disney yet, right?
No, not that yet. No, they're backed by Warner, and now I mean, Disney buys the the rights for for X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four. So now they've got those to put into it. So now it's like, oh geez, like it wasn't like what we have was not not enough. Now you're going to be throwing in X-Men and Deadpool and now Fantastic Four if that can be done properly this time. So now you got Spider-Man and luckily there's been they've been able to put Spider-Man in some
I
movies
know,
now, which
yeah.
is great.
Remind me again. What is the deal with Spider-Man? Like, it's not on the Marvel label or something, or something weird with it.
Well, Sony owns the movie rights for it and animation rights, so that's the reason why. That's why you're going to only see Spider-Man games only on Sony because they own the rights for that.
You know what? That's
the thing.
I good for Sony and everything, but like, come on.
At least they opened the door, so then they were able to use Spider-Man and Civil War. Now they're going to use them again for the new upcoming Avengers, and then they use Iron Man. That's the greatest thing that they did was they actually let the doors open. Fox wouldn't even do that. So, with that going on,
it's good guy Sony.
Yeah, good guy Sony. But I don't know. They got Venom coming up, and I'm kind of cringing about how that's going to work. I've heard that Venom's not really going to have much showtime, but you're going to call it Venom. So I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You know what? I mean, at this point, I'm just happy with, any kind of Marvel, Superman. I'm like, Star Wars. Just make more Star Wars stuff. Like, I eat that stuff up. So.
Yeah, well, they're doing it though. I mean, they got one every year, which has been working. So I think they got one coming up this year, and then they got number 9 coming out next year. I have no idea what they're going to do after that. But they'll have something ready every year. I mean, why not?
We'll see.
Yeah. You can follow Castle Pixel on Twitter at CastlePixel, and you can visit their website at castlepixel.com. You can follow Cat with Monaco on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cat with Monaco, and you can visit our website at catwithmonaco.com. Thank you, Rob, for your time on the podcast and wishing the best for you and Castle Pixel.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for having me, Seth. I had a great time talking with you.